Delightful, Delicious, Delovely. My name is Christine Elise, and today I have a very special guest. I have Mr. Neil Hamburger here with me today, who's going to be making a recipe. I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us what you're going to make.
I am Neil Hamburger, and over the years we have had quite a bit of marginal success in the comedy field. However, today I'm going to do something different, which is to help your viewers learn how to make tamales.
What kind of tamales?
Well, these are vegan tamales,
okay,
as requested. These tamales, really when you make tamales, you can fill them with anything. We talked about shredded newspaper earlier. We're not going to do that.
That's keto though, right?
It's not good for you.
Oh, it isn't? But you lose weight, isn't that good for you?
Not that kind of way, because when you lose weight because you're going to the toilet every few minutes, that's not ideal.
I'll take weight loss any way I can get it, so.
Well, I would not take it this way. I'm not putting the newspaper in the tamales.
All right,
I told you this earlier. That's not going to happen. We're going to put beans, which are, cheap. Beans are very cheap. I don't know if they're good for your heart, but they're not bad for your heart. And
I've heard a rumor.
Well, I think that beans are harmless. It's a harmless food. And it has sort of the consistency of shredded newspaper in a way. But if it was packed into a little capsule, like a pill, and they call it beans.
I see. All right.
That's where beans come from.
Another form of fiber.
A better form. And then also soy riso, which is made in the soy riso factory, which is the old chorizo factory that got shut down by the health department for vermin. And then they cleaned it out. They've got the fire department in with a hose and sprayed it all to get rid of all the chorizo filth. And then the soy riso people came in and converted the factory to a wonderful place. You spend some time there if you get a chance. I think they have a package on hotels.com.
That's fantastic. It's all news to me. You learn something new every day, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't, this isn't learning because some of it isn't true.
Oh.
And then, what else do we, mushrooms. Mushrooms, they grow on the sidewalks.
They grow on poop?
They do, not ours.
Okay.
Ours today, I don't know where I think they grow in Pennsylvania, judging from what I read on the package.
Okay, if I have a question for you. If a mushroom is grown on poop, animal poop, is it still vegan?
I believe everything that is in our tamales today was grown on what they call fertilizer. That's a nice way.
But isn't that then somehow an indirect product of an animal? If you're eating the mushrooms from a cow pie?
It's not. It's not pure, but there's there's bacteria on everything we're eating. And I could inhale 1 million bacteria right now, but I won't because that's bad television.
Well, they also call mushrooms fungus, and that sounds like bacteria right in the name, doesn't it?
It sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
Okay.
So turn off the show if you're disgusted, if you're easily repulsed.
No, don't do that. All right.
Don't do that. Okay.
So, how do we get going? What are the first steps in your process? So we sauteed the mushrooms.
We did that.
We did that.
We got here at 6 a.m. to saute these mushrooms.
We sauteed them with what?
We sauteed the mushrooms with your basic olive oil. You can get it anywhere. Liquor stores even have it sometimes.
Is that true?
In the back.
I don't think that's true.
Well, because they'll have the liquor, but then they'll have a little section of groceries, and sometimes they have olive oil. It's usually old.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't get it there. And then we put some olive oil in a pan. You should have seen this. It was incredible. And we chopped up garlic. The garlic. We love garlic.
Yeah.
And we put that in there and stirred it up. And then when it was hot, we dumped the goddamn mushrooms in with some cumin, chili pepper, and something else. I mean, whatever. Who cares?
We care.
You know how to make mushrooms. Make them good. Spice them up.
How much cumin did you think you used? Maybe
I don't
a teaspoon
care
or so?
About numbers. I'm trying to make food.
But the people do. The people want to know.
Well, I didn't tell them how many mushrooms either. All right.
That's true. It was a container. What's that, a half a pound?
Could
mushroom slice?
8 ounces. 8 ounces of mushrooms, 1 tablespoon of cumin.
A tablespoon is a fuck ton. Are you sure it was a tablespoon?
It was a teaspoon.
Okay, a teaspoon sounds better.
A pinch of chili powder, but without knowing how strong the chili powder is, it doesn't really matter.
And as we discussed earlier, my spices are stale.
So this is going to be bad. No, I would say if you have a mushroom that you would make for a taco, make it for these tamales. The tamale we're teaching you how to make the damn tamale. The filling can be whatever you choose. So if you like spicy mushrooms, put a lot of spice in it. If you like bland mushrooms, cook it in water with no flavoring at all. Salt, some people like a lot of salt. Those people are in the hospital a lot.
Yep. I happen to have a friend who's living on a diet of beef jerky and grapes.
Well, say goodbye to your friend. They're not
He
going
went
to
to the hospital yesterday. His blood pressure was over 200.
All right. Well, I'm sorry about that. Why isn't he here learning how to make these vegan tamales?
Yeah, I know. He's busy shopping for low sodium beef jerky right now. All right, so we made the mushrooms, and then we heated up a can of beans. A single 15-ounce can of beans, black beans, yes?
Well, I'm not going to lie and say we picked these beans and grew these beans and cultivated them. Yes, it was a can of beans, and then we cooked it with a bay leaf. You can find these anywhere. And some
at the liquor store?
cumin. No, not at the liquor store, but just on the street.
Okay.
And then some
You buy black market
powder.
bay leaves on the street?
Well, I just cut them off the bay trees that grow everywhere in California. Bay trees.
Wow, these are trees.
They're everywhere, by the bay. And then you leave them out in the sun, and they dry, and they turn into bay leaves.
Sounds like a lot of work. You can also get them at Ralph's, I think.
Or Vaughn's, or at
Albertsons.
Albertsons.
Kroger.
Sainsbury, if you're in the UK, or Tesco.
If you want to overpay,
Coles,
you can go to Gelson's.
Gelson's. Coles if you're in Australia, or Woolworths. I don't have the Italian supermarket names if we have any Italian viewers.
Okay. All right. So, the beans with the bay leaves.
The garlic powder, the cumin again, a little bit, not much.
Okay.
And the chili pepper. I mean, basically your basic black beans that you would put in a burrito.
All right.
Same beans.
I like it.
If you have a recipe you like, use that recipe.
Don't tell them that. They won't need me.
Well, I mean, maybe tomorrow's episode will be beans. I don't know. Okay, so we've got those beans, and then we've got that soy riso, and we've got that mushroom, and then the cheese.
Okay.
We've got to talk about the cheese.
Yeah, all right.
We bought a package of shredded cheese.
Vegan cheese.
Vegan cheese. It's made by the Violife people. It's made in Greece.
I didn't know that.
All the good vegan cheeses come from Greece. There's one factory there. They all, look at the package. It always says product of Greece.
I'm gonna get that.
These aren't real brands, folks. It's one factory.
Are you lying some more?
Look, product
Vegan society.
of Greece.
Okay.
Somewhere.
I see the best.
Imported. Well, there's your first clue. Look at that. Product of
Fucking
Greece.
Greece. He's not lying.
Product of Greece.
Okay, yeah, we got an insert of that. I did not know that.
Yeah, to follow your heart. All these brands. It's Greece, Greece, Greece. I mean, Greece.
Right, yeah. Ironically, these cheeses aren't greasy at all.
No, they're dry.
Yeah. And they don't melt. All right, so, but we like Violife. I've reviewed their Parmesan and something else on this channel. I guess saying show is dated.
Not really.
Thank God you're my age. All right, so, now what? I see you've got a pot of stock there.
Here we go. We've made a pot of stock using Macel. Now this stock is the best stock on the market today, and that's why we used it for these tamales.
Okay. That ladle we measured is approximately somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 cup per ladle.
We'll just say half a cup for the sake of our viewers.
Okay. All right, so what do we do?
All right, here we go. Now's the time to pay attention.
Okay.
We're going to open up our masa flour. You can get this at the 99-cent store, but you can also get it somewhere else. It's your basic corn flour. It's very messy. You see the specks going everywhere. So we open that up. We didn't need to film this part, but we're not going to edit it out either.
No, we're not. It's fascinating.
It's watching an old comic open a bag. And then we have corn grits, polenta. Now this is made by the red milk people. These guys don't screw around. They charge a pretty penny for everything they do. However, you could use Quaker grits or any of these cheaper grits, but you got to check it for bugs. This brand doesn't tend to have bugs in their corn grits or whatever.
Bugs wouldn't be vegan, would they?
Technically, no. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to take I'm not hitting anyone with this. Now we're going to take 2/3 of a cup of butter. Butter. This isn't real butter. But this is
It's
two-thirds of a
Earth
cup.
Balance. It's our Earth Balance butter. That's a shit ton of butter.
That seems like a lot. That doesn't seem like two-thirds of a cup. That seems like, I mean, here's a cup. Right, no, it's
Well,
half a cup.
a stick we determined was a quarter cup, right?
Well, that's
or
what
half a
somebody
cup?
told us. We might be ruining
A stick
everything.
is a half cup.
All right. Well, then this is the right.
Should I ask the interwebs?
Yeah, you can't trust them. People go on Wikipedia and they say a stick of butter is 40 cups. And then everybody's recipe's
Or
ruined.
fucked.
As you could see, I'm trying to mash this. It's not easy. Now, this is a very long process, crushing, smushing.
Smushing
the butter.
works, yeah.
And honestly, I don't really care if I do it exactly properly.
Is it
but
like
whipping the butter.
like when you're making pie crust, for example? It has to be ice cold butter to make the crust. Is this not? Why couldn't we just melt that and add?
I don't know. I think it does. I think you do need to kind of have this type of a blob in order for these tamales to work.
All right.
I wouldn't. I mean, it is going to melt. You're going to see because I'm not.
Yeah, you're gonna put that stock. You're gonna put stock on that butter.
I am going to. This is a strange kind of repetitive process, but that's what you need to make tamales. What we're going to do. What we're going to do is put. This is a cup. We're going to put 1 cup of this masa flour into that butter. And then we're going to put 1 cup of this stock into that mess. So you've got your butter with 1 cup of the flour and 1 cup of the stock. And then you're kind of stirring it up like you would a chocolate chip cookie recipe. You see, and it does start to resemble cookie batter, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
see that?
I don't think I've made a cookie in 30 years.
Well, that's an episode you should look into.
The problem is here, I gotta eat everything I make, and I don't need to be eating fucking cookies.
But do you eat everything on the show? There must be some things you just scrape right into the trash as soon as the guest is out the door.
Yeah, I have to admit that I have thrown some things away. Primarily because I'll make a giant tray of macaroni and cheese, and I don't need to be eating that.
Well, now you just gave away whose macaroni and cheese you threw away.
Mine.
Oh, all right.
Not my guess.
All right, we'll take another cup. Another cup of this. Now, this is the repetition. If you like repetitious music, like some of the old disco records, maybe play that while you're doing this, because there's a lot of repetition. So we have,
are you a music fan?
No.
You're not.
Well, it's competition for what I do. Although I did make my own musical record recently, but it didn't really compete in the marketplace. Okay, so we've added the cup of that, so now we got to add a cup of this.
All right.
So it's tit for tat, as they say on the school playgrounds. Okay.
You know, Tiffany Amber Thiessen's company is called Tit for Tat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because her initials are TAT. That's her corporation.
What does the
is
company
Tit
do?
for Tat.
I hope they don't make tamales or we're in trouble.
No, I don't think they do. She's got a cooking show, though. It's not vegan.
It's not. Okay. Is it good food?
Yeah, she had a big hit on like the Cooking Channel or like Food Network or whatever, like legit show with famous people on as guests.
Just like this one.
Yep. Just like this one.
Look at that. Look how good this is
And
looking.
looks, it smells good too, actually.
It really does.
It
Okay,
smells
now,
like maize.
that's what it is.
Isn't that amazing?
I can't
That was
keep
really
up with
lame.
it with punch. I can't
I
keep
didn't
up
do that on
with
purpose
punch.
either, by the way. That was pure comedy genius. It was unexpected.
I'm laughing inside. Okay, now we're going to do another cup of this stuff. This is our 3rd cup. Remember?
Yeah.
And you can look it up. You can rewind if you don't believe me. We're going to stir that in.
How many tamales is this going to make?
It's going to make a lot, but that's just, you know, if you're going to go to the trouble and make this much of a mess, because this is a mess, then you need to make a lot of tamales. And you can freeze them. In fact, they're better when they're frozen. You should freeze them.
Do you have to heat them up again after you froze them?
You steam them again.
I see. You don't just eat them frozen? Like a popsicle?
You can. I mean, you can do anything, though. That's the great thing about America.
It's a way to keep
Okay.
your pace of your eating down.
I mean, you break a tooth because anything frozen,
Just
whether
suck
it's
it.
corn or ice or anything, it gets quite hard. All right, now we're adding the next cup of the stock. So you see we've got this
Okay.
pattern. Again, if you've got the disco music playing, it will work very well with that. I made 6 cups of stock in preparation of this, but we don't need all 6. Some of it we are going to pour down the drain.
What?
Although,
You know what I'll do?
tell you-
I'll put it on my dog's food tonight. They'll be very pleased. We won't throw that away.
Okay.
My dogs will eat very little goes to waste here, except for the whole mac and cheeses that I throw away.
Well,
But the dogs eat a lot. I showed you my dog eats pickles, so.
Yeah, I was impressed.
It's pretty impressive.
Pickle-eating dog.
It's the talk of the town.
I'll tell you what we do with the extra stock is we throw it in the face of those asshole executives that didn't renew BH 90210. I'll go down there myself and dump a whole pot full of molten lava in these people's laps because I loved the program.
Thank you.
And we were looking forward
that.
to it every week. And when you get somebody like me that's not watching television, and I'm watching television now, why do you want to cut my throat so I'm not watching television anymore?
I know. You're preaching to the choir here. I can't support your physically assaulting them because maybe they'll give me a job down the road. But hold on.
No, and I'm not saying you were supporting it.
Alexa's complaining, so we have to cut for a second.
Okay.
All right. That looks pretty good. It is a similar cookie dough texture. A little grittier, maybe?
Different taste. Do
Let's
not
hope.
make cookies out of this. They will not be good cookies. All right, now we're on our last cup, I believe. We've done 3, I think.
I believe that's true.
So we're doing the last cup of the masa, cup number 4, but then things are going to get interesting. Not that this hasn't been interesting, but okay. And then cup number 4 of this.
All right.
Now, honestly, these numbers, you can kind of adjust them if you're getting a soupier sort of mix. It should always have that cookie batter sort of quality to it, you know?
Yeah, I think that I'm not sure if this masa has a similar property like flours. Flour is not all the same. Different flours have different moisture content, so when you're making things like pizza dough or pasta, the liquid to dry ratio can change depending on the particular brand of flour you're using. So this is simply corn flour, right?
It's supposed to be. I mean, some of these companies, who knows what they're doing. There could be
Soylent Green.
plaster of Paris that you would make a wall out of could have ended up in here. I don't think so. This seems like a reputable company. They have lots of awards.
I see that. It's certified gluten-free and 100% whole grain. So I'm assuming that 100% whole grain means there isn't any plaster of Paris or any kind of...
Well, I don't know if plaster of Paris is a
crafts.
grain or not. I don't know what the... But I
Can
know
you buy
you shouldn't
masa
eat it.
at like that Michelle's or whatever, those craft stores?
Home Depot?
Those
Yeah.
fucking stores are so depressing, aren't they? I hate those craft stores.
With the beads and the wires and the styrofoam balls.
Yes.
As if everyone's making a clown out of styrofoam. We don't want that. Okay, here's where things get very strange.
Speaking of clowns, hold on. Do we have a clown friend in common?
We do.
We do.
Mr. Puddle's Pity Party.
You know about Puddle's Pity Party. I know Puddle's too. One of my mac and cheeses that I made here, I brought to my friend Stuart's house, and I think you admitted it, even eaten it.
I did eat some.
So, anyway. Puddle's Pity Party. Puddles is a good friend of ours, so.
Well, if he was a good friend, he'd be here right now cheering us on, wouldn't he?
That's true. Maybe he's on tour.
Or maybe he just isn't a good friend.
There's that.
No, I do think he's a good friend, and I hope we do see a little bit of him later off camera. Or on camera,
Indeed.
really.
I bet
I
Puddles
hope I would
really
like-
likes tamales.
I would love to give him one of these
Yeah.
tamales. I might just show up at one of his shows with a plate of tamales for him.
I'm certain he'd appreciate it. He eats pie in his show. He eats a lot of pie.
Tamales are kind of a pie. Pie
Corn
wrapped
pie.
in corn husks. All right, this is the interesting part, so
All right.
take note. We are now switching over to corn grits, polenta.
Okay.
And we're going to do a cup of those. Yeah, wow, exactly right. This will make the batter a little more lively. Gives a little bit of a crunch, you know. And at this point also we're going to add our last bit
Okay.
of butter.
So in total we used 2 whole sticks of Earth Balance butter.
Mm-hmm.
4 cups of this, 1 cup of this, and 4 cups or 5 cups?
We're about to add the
The fifth
last
cup.
bit. Now the last bit of the stock, it could be a cup, but I sort of take stock. No, you were punning, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I take stock as to where we are at that moment and how battery this stuff is looking. It's looking pretty good.
It is. I would think a couple more would be too much.
I think so too. Let's try a half a cup.
What are these? What's this little can of chilies? Is that going to go in there?
That sure is.
We're going to
That
get a can
sure
opener.
is. Oh boy, I didn't bring a can opener.
You can't just do it on the counter like some guys can do with a beer.
I mean, some guys do it with their teeth. These are bad people generally that do that kind of thing. I see them backstage in the green room at my shows. These guys come in opening bottles and cans and things with their teeth. But a lot of times they develop a thing where their teeth, the buck teeth, kind of go outward.
Is that
so
true?
They look like a rat.
Is that true?
You're doing this all the time. Your teeth start going outward. Before you know it, they're like this.
Well,
They're going
that's
straight out.
That's just unattractive.
Well, these people are. They're usually in rock bands. So they've got a lot of problems already.
So, are you appearing anywhere in the near future? In the closing off the 2019 year, not decade, closing off the decade too, actually.
I think we do have a show or two. It's always at americasfunnyman.com. We have all the tour dates. We're doing a big, we're always doing big tours. We're doing another couple of big tours in the coming year because you just have to do that.
Stadiums?
We have performed in stadiums, but not recently.
Comedy clubs?
I have performed in comedy clubs, but not recently. Okay.
All right. So, all right.
I think we've got it with this. Now,
Yes?
let's talk about the chilies.
All right. Shall I get a can opener?
Yeah, let's get a can opener. These are Chi-Chi's chilies. I don't recommend this brand. Chi-Chi's was a restaurant, a very bad chain restaurant that went out of business, went bankrupt in 2004 after hepatitis hit one of their locations. And so the whole chain folded.
Hepatitis?
Well, for the restaurant, but then Hormel bought the name Chi-Chi's and decided to turn it into canned foods. Well, I would burn the name Chi-Chi's after this hepatitis incident at the restaurant. Anyway, they still have...
Chi-Chi's means boobs, too.
And it does, and you don't see any trace of that on the package, which would help sell these. But Chi-Chi's does exist as a restaurant still in the United Arab Emirates. So if you're down there, do patronize Chi-Chi's.
I've never heard of Chi-Chi's. Was it not in Los Angeles?
It was mostly in the suburbs, but I would recommend another brand of chilies. This was what was available. Honestly, all chilies in this size can come from the same factory.
In Greece?
It's in New Mexico. And these guys just slap their sticker on it, but Hatch is another brand, or you can get the store brand. It's always going to be the same green chilies. I don't know why that is, but I found it to be true. All right.
It says right, chichis.com. Make meals more exciting with Chi-Chi's salsa and tortillas.
I would stay away from the other Chi-Chi's products, but that's just me.
Do you follow them on Facebook?
I used to, but it was getting a little bit too obscene, honestly, for me.
You can't have that.
Yeah, so I had to stop.
There's always some guy that takes the fucking joke too far, right?
Especially at the Chi-Chi's corporate headquarters in the United Arab Emirates. Wow. Plop. That's the sound that made. And this is kind of my own little
Smells
twist
good.
to the whole thing. I don't see this in a lot of the tamale recipes that I read while I'm waiting for my canceled flight to be rebooked.
It smells really good.
It does actually smell pretty good.
Should I get this stock out of your way? Or do you
Yeah, I
need
could
it?
put my elbow in it, and then I
Yeah.
can't use this tux for the next show without a trip to the dry cleaner, and that's
That's
$2.25 that I'd rather not spend.
They
Okay.
could buy you half a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Or 3 containers of Chi-Chi's green chilies at the grocery outlet. All right. I think we are ready for step number 2.
All
Let's
right.
clear the table.
All right. All right, we're back for the next step in the process.
The next step. Wash your hands. Wash your hands, because we're going to get a little down and dirty here
Let me get some
with
proper
some of this stuff.
All right. We're going to just manhandle it.
I want people to see this isn't Taco Bell. We practice a very clean cooking practices here.
Not like Chi-Chi's.
Well, Chi-Chi's didn't, Taco Bell doesn't, a lot of places don't. Maybe they have it as a policy, but if you go online and look at some of the tweets about the Taco Bell food poisoning situation, you'll see that there does seem to be a problem, which I would like to help them out with, and that's why I'm showing them how to wash your hands. Now, you can probably find other videos that show you how to wash your hands, but in case you can't find one, we're going to present it for you here right now.
I'm not a big fan of the hand sanitizer. Where do you fall on the hand sanitizer?
Well, yeah, I mean, nothing beats hot water and soap. But
I believe hand sanitizer is like taking too many antibiotics. I think they're mounted backwards because I hired a great contractor. I think you don't develop immunity that you might otherwise develop. Where's your little towel?
I need a little, yeah.
You don't develop immunities that you might otherwise if you were exposed to things at a low grade.
Well, I'll tell you something. If the guys from KISS came up to me and shook my hand, I would run for the hand sanitizer as quick as I could. But fortunately, that hasn't happened.
I went to Tybo one time and Gene Simmons was in there.
And what happened then?
I don't want to say.
But you did wash your hands.
He didn't touch me.
Oh, okay. Well, I would still wash your hands if you were in the room.
He's touched a lot of people, though. I think he has a picture of every vagina he's ever experienced, doesn't he? Like, have a Polaroid of all his vaginas? He does.
I would hope that totals one.
I think it totals a lot more than that. And I don't think he's ever had a drink. Pussy.
Yeah. I also don't think he's ever written a hit song. Okay. No, you guys are wrong. He's never had
What
a hit
about
song.
Back in the New York Groove?
He didn't write it, and he didn't play on it.
No, isn't
That was his idiot guitarist.
Paul Stanley?
Ace.
Freely.
Should have
Paul
been, his
Stanley
name should have been
bass
3. If you're looking at a deck of cards and saying, who should this guy be from the deck of cards, I would say a 3. A worthless card that's not good in any game you would ever
Not
play.
in low games, not in high games.
It's just a bad card. You need it, but they didn't need Ace. They didn't need any of those guys. They needed studio musicians, and that's what they used.
Is that true?
I think they used a lot of them. They even admit it because the music is so poor. And the only way to spruce it up is bring in somebody that can actually play it.
All right. I saw them, in high school.
Well, I'm sorry. I hope it was a short concert.
It was not a fun one because it was and it was in Boston, and it was the only venue on their tour that wouldn't allow them to use pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
So didn't even have the flash you would normally expect from a KISS show.
Well, on the other hand, you didn't put yourself at risk of burning to death in a concert stampede caused by a fire.
Which happened later, many years later, also outside Boston. No, in Rhode Island, right?
In Providence.
Rhode Island.
It was in Providence. But it was a different group.
I know.
But also a bad group. Another bad group. Great White. Terrible. Terrible music.
I'm with you on that.
Terrible. Okay. Well, from
All right, so
horrific infernos to steaming tamales.
Spicy to fiery food. So we have these corn husks you bought in a bag, and we've been soaking them just in room temperature water, right? To make them soft?
Yeah, we've been soaking them for about an hour. You could make them yourself, but that's going to entail having several acres of corn growing and then saving all the husks and drying them out on your roof.
It's just not efficient.
It's not worth it.
It's not efficacious.
It's not worth it.
All right.
Now, when you get the corn husks and they're in the water, you look for one that's a decent size. Sometimes you'll find some in there that look like this. Well, you're not going to make a tamale with this.
No.
But we're going to put this aside because I have another use for it. All right, so you've got your husk. This one's split a little bit, so we'll use that later because we want the best possible husk to introduce our viewers to making tamales.
Okay.
Now we're going to take a spoonful of this masa flour and slop it on down.
That's a good amount. It's going to be a pretty sizable tamale.
I think it is. Now we have cheese, soy rizo, mushrooms, and beans. We're going to make 2 different types today. You can make 100 different types. You just need more bowls.
Okay.
So we're going to take a little bit of this soy rizo.
This wouldn't happen to be aged nut cheese, would it?
It sure the hell isn't.
Okay. So, good thing you washed your hands. I see why it was important to wash your
Exactly.
hands. You're just totally manhandling that
And it could be disgusting in the hands of somebody who's like works for the septic system people, or at a concert, emptying out some of those septic tanks. Okay, next we put the cheese down. Look at this.
That's fantastic.
We pat that into place. And then for this one, we'll put some nice mushrooms in. We'll take a couple of these.
Okay, are you going to make... so this is the soy riso. This is the sauteed mushrooms you made. This is the beans you made with the bay leaf that you foraged from the neighborhood. Are you using all these ingredients in one? Or are you going to make just soy riso, just mushrooms,
I'm going to make a couple different ones just to give people some ideas.
Okay.
All right, so take a look at that. That's how that should look. Now watch this. We are going to kind of fold this over like that. And I kind of fold it over like this. You see? And we're creating, this one looks a little moist, but it will harden. All right, so you're creating what is basically your basic tamale. Then you're folding the bottom up like that, folding one side over, and folding the other side around. And that is a classic tamale.
And you don't close the top.
Well,
like a burrito,
then you
it's
do.
not...
Then you do, because then you take the next one of these and put it upside down, you see?
Aha.
And you put that there, and then you do the same thing in reverse, you see? And then you have a tamale. And then this thing that we talked about earlier, you can use it to make a little tie.
Well, look at that.
And that one's a little short, but let's get another one here.
It's length challenged.
Let's see if this one will work. You don't need to tie these up, but you know, it can help. It's just hard sometimes to get the string. There we go.
We call these the BTK tamales.
What does the BTK stand for?
Bind, torture, kill. Come on now. BTK
These
killer.
are the BTK tamales.
Yep.
All right, so this isn't quite long enough.
I say fuck the tie.
It doesn't need it, honestly. It doesn't need it. It's what it is.
You could use twine if you were just hell bent on tying them up,
I've
right?
seen
Kitchen
people.
twine?
Oh boy, look at that one.
Oh, now you did need to tie it up. We spoke too soon.
Delete that footage. Honestly, I would probably not even tie it. I would probably just put it in like that because it doesn't matter if the top is sealed.
Okay.
Let's try. Oh, let's tie it up.
Do you want kitchen twine?
No. We want to use this corn
Authentic.
and make it work.
Roxy's barking.
I just need a longer piece.
I don't know how much longer that is. I'm going to hold it.
Let's just try this for real.
This
So
is ambitious. It's very authentic. Do you come from a long line of tamale makers?
No, but I have seen tamales for sale. Okay. After shows, sometimes people sell them in the parking lot. You know,
Oh, like
around
food
Los
trucks and
Angeles.
stuff?
Exactly. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
That is a nice tie. So as you
Yes,
can
indeed.
see, there isn't going to be an exact way for each one of these, but this is the basic idea. Is you plop down some of this
Yep.
and flatten it out a bit.
So we just put mushrooms and soy riso in that first one.
That one, yeah. Now we're going to do one with the black beans, right?
All right.
See if it makes more of a better tasting tamale. Some people don't like soy riso. Some people prefer, mushrooms. Some people don't like mushrooms. We can make one with every possible combination, and a mathematician could tell you how many combinations there are of these 4 ingredients. So when you have it like this, again, you kind of fold the bottom up like that, and then you fold the sides in like so. And if you see some of the inner parts showing, you can actually take a little bit more of this and kind of fill in the gaps, you see? Seal it up. And then you fold that like that, you fold this sideways, this one comes around, and we have another tamale.
That's great.
This one ready for another tie.
You're hell bent on these ties. They seem very stressful.
They are kind of the most difficult part of the process. I think your idea of using twine is pretty good, but less appetizing.
It's just not authentic. Who are we
It's
kidding?
not authentic. Look at that.
It's beautiful. That is really
Beautifully
beautiful.
tied.
All right, I want to try one.
Okay.
My hands are clean. That's been documented. All right. Come on over here.
I think the wetter the The ones that are further down, the wetter they are,
All right.
the easier they fold.
All right. Oh, here's some very bottom ones. All right. All right. So I made whatchamacallit, Thai fresh rolls on this channel once, and with that rice paper, it's like a hard disc, like a record, and you dip it in water for like 15 seconds, and it goes from being a record to being so fragile it just tears apart in about 15 seconds. It's a stressful process to make those things.
I've always been intimidated by those, honestly.
You should be. All right, I'm going to go with all 3 ingredients. I'm going to go with a little of the soy rizo, a little bit of mushroom.
Now, if there's too much in it,
I know, it'd be too fat, right?
then it's going to be a problem. You could pat it down a little bit, maybe.
You're very demanding. I'm feeling very nervous. I feel a lot of pressure now.
I just want you to be happy with your first tamale.
Okay, it is my first. I've actually never made a tamale, so it really truly is my first effort at making a. So I'm folding it like that, like you did.
No, you want to bring up the bottom a little bit.
More, like that.
Let's see.
Oh, I see.
I'm
sealing icing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to create like a little cocoon around the ingredients.
Exactly. How you want to do it, it doesn't matter how you do it. And it doesn't matter if little bits are sticking out.
It doesn't? You said.
Because the whole thing solidifies, you know.
All right. So then I do that, and I fold it like so. And there she is. A little sticking out of the top there. Is that too much, you think?
We could try another one of these double. Which, you know, if you're shipping it, if you were to ship some of these overseas, the double type would probably be the best. But if you're just putting it in your fridge and eating it yourself, usually one husk is enough, you know?
I'm kind of impressed. Well, this is a lot of steps. They weren't difficult steps. I'm kind of really liking this. I feel like, and I like that you can just get down here, make a shit ton of them, and freeze them. And you're saying they're even better when they've been frozen.
They're much better after
a double wrapped one?
It's a double wrapped one. It might need a tie, it might not. The thing with these husks, they're a little inconsistent. Sometimes you fold it up and it holds in place. Other times you got to tie it up.
You know what I want to do for the fuck of it? Let me get the string. Hang on. Let's see how the string works.
I think the string's unappetizing, but let's...
I
mean, let's do it.
Unappetizing. It's kitchen twine.
It really is the thing long enough, you know? Sometimes this corn is not. This one, I'm just testing it. Yeah, this one's not long enough.
But guess what is?
The
kitchen twine.
I've seen people do this with twine.
You're going to see happen right now. All right. Let's see if it's any. Look at that. It's just so much easier. So you could really hasten your pace at getting these accomplished. All right. I feel pretty good about that.
That's pretty good.
It is not as authentic, I'll concede, but that was not difficult. Those are really prettier with the...
They're prettier.
Yeah, prettier. Yeah. You're right.
And the environmental issues using this versus twine.
All right.
It's nothing.
It's just a slower process.
You already had the twine. It was already made. We may as well use it.
Indeed. All right. So once we get a whole bunch of these made, then what happens?
Then we're going to put them in the steamer. I'm going to make one more as if it was the first one.
Okay.
Let's do that in case we didn't like the take.
Okay.
So you're going to take this husk, which you have
That's been soaking?
It's been soaking.
Just in regular water,
and
room
you put
temperature.
a blob. You will see little bits of grit and things like that in the, sometimes in the husks. It's fine, it's just strings from corn, but every once in a while you'll see a little bug, dead bug that was living in the masa. So pick those out, throw that one away, whatever you want to do. We don't have any bugs in these today, so.
So these corn husks, I can't imagine they're very expensive.
They really aren't, and they really shouldn't be. They're waste, essentially, that's being turned into something useful. Now, from what I'm told, President Nixon choked. He was served tamales as a president and didn't know how to eat them and tried eating the husk and choked on the husk. And as a result, while he was president, he banned the sale of corn husks. This is what I'm told. I don't know. It could be. You might want to look that up and see if that's true. All right, so we've put down the soy rizo, the cheese. We're going to put down a couple mushrooms here. And just for the hell of it, let's throw in a few beans. It doesn't take much. That's the trick with the tamales. You don't need to fill it with that much stuff. And then we're going to fold up the bottom like that. That's beautiful. And then we're going to fold the sides. And if we have space where the filling is showing, we're going to take a little bit more and cover it up. You're basically creating a little pillow full of your ingredients. Then you fold the bottom, fold the side back around. Voila! Then you use a piece of the corn husk, if you like, to tie it up.
I like it.
This is a good one for the tie.
Okay, so that looks beautiful. I'm going to help you, and we're going to assemble the rest of these bad boys, and then we will come back and do is it the final step in the process?
The final step, the steaming of the tamales.
Excellent. All right. Okay, so we're back. So we rolled them all up. We tied them. Only one of them has kitchen twine. The rest of them are done authentically with the corn husk. And so this is your steamer.
That is my steamer, and I brought it because there are a lot of ways to steam tamales, but I find these electric steamers to be the best. You can do this in your hotel room. You can set it up on the dresser there and steam them in the hotel while you're out doing a comedy show. And then when you come back, the tamales are waiting.
Well, I like that. I like that. I'm a big slow cooker girl. I like the idea of leaving the house and coming back and having it smell like somebody was here and cared about me and someone actually gave a fuck about me and made me dinner. I like that feeling.
I like that feeling. I don't get that when I make the tamales because I get back to the empty hotel room and I still feel that nobody cares. But I do have the tamales, which is nice.
And they cheer you up a little bit. This is cool. It's a retro looking steamer. I've never seen one like this.
Well, I've had it for 80 years.
You're not 80. So it's on for 65 minutes. Is it just settings? Are there settings on that thing?
No, you just put it in and put some water in and
it's like a humidifier too. You could.
Yeah. You put a towel over your head and then you stay there and you'll get rid of your cold.
Yep. And maybe close your pores. All right, so that's great. So and they're just stacked all up in there, like unceremoniously on top of each other.
They're just piled in there. 65 minutes is what I do with the electric steamer. With a regular steamer, maybe it wouldn't take as long. But I'll tell you one thing about tamales. They taste best the next day. So what I would recommend is you steam these, take them out, put them in the fridge, take them out the next day, steam them for half an hour at that point. Mm-hmm. Wow, they're good. Wow, they're good. The texture gets better over time.
I think many foods are better. You know, I made a vegan beef stew yesterday, and it'll be much better tonight than it was last night. If you want to freeze them, do you steam them first, then freeze them, or do you freeze them raw?
No. You would steam them first. Okay. You do the whole process. I always freeze a few, but a lot of times if I'm doing 365 shows in a year, I put them in the freezer, and then I come back 700 days later, and sometimes after 700 days in the freezer, they get a freezer burn flavor, and then you just have to throw them away.
That's a shame. We don't want that. I hate freezer burn.
It's bad, especially bad with tamales.
Ice cream.
Ooh.
All right, well that's that. That's fantastic. I have to admit that I have always been very intimidated by the idea of tamales. I see the husks at the supermarket there, and I think, maybe I'll be ambitious, but I have never had the balls to try it. And now that we've seen it done, it actually isn't difficult.
So when I leave here, are you going to make another batch?
Well, I'm hoping you'll leave some of these with me so I can eat these.
Yeah, of course.
But in the future, will I? Yes, I absolutely will. Because I like the idea of doing the dirty work all at once and having a bunch to freeze and having them sit around for a later date. I like that.
You store them. You get one of these old freezers. You can find them on Craigslist for about $10. And these big freezers that these weirdos have in their basement from where they were storing human body parts.
Or BTK killer.
But they're in jail, so the family has to do something with the freezer. And so I buy these freezers. I have about 20 of them.
Serial killer mass liquidation sale?
It's a little bit it's a situation where you want to sterilize it. That's all I can say. Right. But when these are done, of course you peel the husks off. You put it on a plate. I would add some, salsa, not Chi-Chi's brand, a good salsa. Maybe a homemade. I'm sure you have an episode.
I do.
Make that salsa.
I actually have it's not on my channel, it's not on the channel yet, but on my blog I have an all-season salsa. Tomatoes aren't good in the winter, they're not good for salsa. But I have one you can make with canned tomatoes, which sounds gross, but it's actually quite good, and it's good in a pinch in the winter.
Well, let's link this episode to that
Okay.
and really help sell this winter tamale thing that we've got going. And then also, you know, the soy sour creams are nice on this. Some grated cheese.
Guacamole.
Maybe a side of rice and beans and really make a whole plate out of it, you know.
I like it.
But when you re-steam them, make sure you do it long enough, like half an hour or something, because there's nothing worse than putting your guacamole and your cheese and everything on it and then cutting it open and
It's cold.
it's cold. Then you just want to go and
Shoot yourself in the face.
Shoot yourself, which
Yeah.
is another episode altogether.
All right, well, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
We learned a lot. And any appearance in the near future you would like to specifically mention, or no?
Well, I'm assuming people will be watching this video to the end of time.
Okay.
So
I
let's just
see.
give a generic.
You don't want to put it.
Yes, I'll be coming to your town this month or
Eventually.
very soon with some all new jokes, routines, and songs, and maybe even a little bit of magic. So I do hope you come to the show.
Okay. And the link, the website that they can go to is?
americasfunnyman.com.
Fantastic. All right. So as always, there's in the notes below, I linked to my blog. The written version of this will be there, so with a print and PDF option at the very bottom of each recipe, you can print it out. And yeah, so that's that. Please subscribe.
And anyone that's going to put any negative comments at the bottom of this video, or harass you, or harass me, just drop dead right now. We don't want to hear from you. We don't like you. We're not interested in your stinking, rotten opinion. Nobody likes you. That's why you're alone making these comments. And honestly, you should take a page out of this book and make these tamales and share them with your friends. But you don't have any friends.
Maybe they can make
That's why you're
some.
harassing people like us.
It's true. Fuck you. Fuck you. And with that, we bid you adieu.
I do.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's raise a glass to the luckiest man in this room. Now bring it down onto his crown. So hard. Kaboom! Let's make a toast to our very esteemed host. Tonight he won't win. I coughed in his gin with my sickness undiagnosed. Your luck has run out, my friend. A king, a queen, a 10. Your luck has run out, my friend. A king, a queen, a 10. Let's pin the award on our chairman of the board. Pierce his vest right into his chest, as you would with a sword. Your luck has run out, my friend. A king, a queen, a 10. smartest man in this room. Now bring it down.